The soldiers, having done their work, sat down around the cross to watch it. A great crowd of the priests and scribes and people stood around the cross, looking at Jesus hanging there. Some of them spoke spitefully to Jesus, shaking their heads at him, saying such words as these: "Ha! You would destroy the temple and build it again in 3 days, would you? Then come down from the cross and save yourself if you can." And some of the priests and scribes called out, "He saved others, but he cannot save himself. If he is, as he said, Christ, the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross in our sight. Then we will believe on him." "He trusts in God," said others. "Now let God help him if he chooses, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" One of the 2 robbers who were hanging on the crosses beside Jesus called out to him, joining in the abuse, "Are you not the Christ, the King of Israel? If you are, why don't you save yourself and save us with you?" But the crucified man on the other side of Jesus rebuked him. "Have you no fear of a just God?" he said. "You are suffering the same sentence as this man, and you and I are suffering only what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then this man from his cross said to Jesus, "Jesus, do not forget me when you come into your kingdom." Then Jesus answered him, "I tell you truly, this very day you shall be with me in the heavenly land." At this time near the cross of Jesus was standing John, his disciple, the one disciple that Jesus loved, and with him was Mary, the mother of Jesus, also her sister and 2 other women named Mary, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene, or Mary of Magdala. When Jesus saw his mother, and beside her the disciple whom he loved, he spoke from the cross to her, "Woman, there is your son." Then he said to John, "Son, there is your mother." And from that time Mary, the mother of Jesus, lived with the disciple John as though he was her own son. It was now noon, and Jesus had been upon the cross 3 long, terrible hours, the sun beating with its rays upon his head. Just at noon, a sudden darkness came over the sky and the earth, and the darkness did not pass away until 3 o'clock. This darkness alarmed the people, and those who had been speaking to Jesus words of contempt now stood still, full of fear. At about 3 o'clock, Jesus called out with a loud voice these words, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" These are the opening words of the 22nd Psalm, written many hundred years before as a prophecy of what Christ should suffer. It may be that Jesus spoke those words to show that all his suffering had been foretold long before. Jesus, in speaking those words, used the old Hebrew tongue, the language in which the psalm was written. In the old Hebrew, the words, my God, were Eloi, Eloi. But the language had changed so greatly since the Psalms were written that the people who heard him did not understand the words. Some said, "He is calling upon Elijah the prophet to help him." Then Jesus spoke again and said, "I am thirsty." There was standing by a jar full of vinegar. One of the men took a sponge, soaked it in the vinegar, fastened it on the end of a stick, and placed it on the lips of Jesus. This also had been foretold in the 69th Psalm in the words, "In my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink." As soon as Jesus tasted the vinegar, he said, "All is finished." Then, after a moment's pause, he spoke with a loud voice to God, "Father, into thy hands I give up my spirit." And with those words, his head dropped forward and Jesus was hanging dead upon the cross.